Okay, welcome to Money on YouTube and Diversifying It. My name is Connor Kavanagh. People normally call me CK, and I'll be taking you through just some details around how you can diversify your revenue streams and make money on the platform. Now, let's get into it. We'll be going through a couple of different areas within this session. The first being advertising policy and a bit of a Q&A session. So I'm hoping there will be a lot of different questions from this community because we've been working really, really hard to ensure there is more transparency with the community about what can and cannot monetize. And so after that, we'll be going through alternative monetization with Andrew and a couple of different guest speakers. So let's get into it. So AFCGs. If you're a creator, you probably are familiar with this page called the Advertiser-Friendly Content Guidelines. This is really the hub of what can monetize and cannot monetize on the platform. Now, what's important to understand about this is the page is largely principle-based. So you're not going to find the granularity that this community needs in order to thrive and make money on the platform. Because this page isn't going to fill you in on the level of detail that you need around what specifically can run an ad and what can't. So its intention is to outline the principles that inform what cannot run ads and what will run limited ads. It does provide examples to illustrate the categories of content that advertisers are more reticent to run ads on. And it is intended to explain what we mean by certain terms or names, such as strong profanity, which we call out as the F word. In addition, it addresses more content areas such as gaming, news, and music. So I'm sure there are already loads of questions streaming in about this page. It's been contentious a couple of times over the last couple of years because really we could have done an awful lot of a better job emphasizing that this is the principles hub of what can and cannot monetize. But fortunately, we've developed a new page and a new system to make sure that things are going to become much more transparent. So I've been kind of insinuating that we wanted to do better. And a huge part of that quest to do better and to do right by this community is around self-certification. This has been a 3-year journey to ensure that we give creators 3 main things. A stronger role in monetization. This community has built the platform. It's why people come to YouTube to entertain themselves, to inform themselves, and often to see a reflection of their own identity when their real world surroundings may not have that same reflection or sense of community. Second is specifics. What will actually run an ad? What will run less ads? And what will run no ads? These 3 categories are critical for us to be transparent around, because at the end of the day, there are so many people within this community that don't just upload to YouTube for fun, although it is. They treat this like a business. And if we're in a commercial relationship with this community, we have to do right by you. And that's about being transparent. Number 3, an opportunity to demonstrate knowledge of the advertiser-friendly content guidelines. So the premise of self-certification is we're going to be as transparent as possible. You're going to rate the content. So you're going to pick which one of these options, these buckets, that your content falls into. Now, if you get it right an awful lot of the time, and our classifier disagrees, we're going to trust your ratings over our own systems. which, as we all know, have a long way to go in terms of becoming perfect. If you get it wrong most of the time, you're not going to get that privilege. So that's why it's really important to try and get this as spot on as possible. So I want to go through 1 or 2 tips, how the system works, and some resources that we've published over the last year, which are going to be really good guides for the people watching this live stream. So let's take a look at the Self-Cert guide. So this is another Help Center page, which you're going to find on the YouTube Help Center. And what this does is provide exhaustive examples of the kinds of content that would fall into each of the questionnaire categories. Now, it's the most transparent guide to monetization guidelines across Google's products. And I would challenge any other platform to serve up as much transparency as we have here. This is the vast, vast majority of what the human reviewers at YouTube are actually provided with in order to rate content. And it's updated. It's updated regularly. And what informs those updates is error rates across content categories. So let's take a deeper look. Here we have sensitive issues, right? So this relates to a category called controversial issues and sensitive events. Right now it's a binary. So if you're discussing any of these controversial issues or a sensitive event, you're going to select the first option, which is discussions of modern acts of terror, events resulting in the catastrophic loss of human life, or controversial social issues. Now, the second option here is the allow ads option. And that's why as you toggle between these options, you're going to see a change in the status in the top right of that rectangle. Right now, it's safe for ads. So this is going to give you a good heads up about what can and cannot monetize. But to be honest, we're trying to condense a book into an A4 page. And what I mean by that is we are challenged by the amount of space that we have in the front end and the space of the audience in terms of how much information we can give you without it becoming a roadblock to you actually being able to upload the video and knowing what can and cannot monetize. So we've tried to summarize one of these books into these 2 sentences. And obviously you want more information. So there are 2 ways in which we've tried to get you more information. The first is the video, where you see, unfortunately, this ugly mug who talks through the details of the policy itself. Now, I'm going to pause here because in true fashion, when it comes to any highly produced event, there's one person who's going to cause a snag, and that person is me. And the snag here is the charger for my laptop has disconnected, and I have about 2% battery left. So little did you know that under this desk, I've been trying to desperately pull back the charger with my foot, pick it up and plug it back into the laptop without you noticing. What I'm going to do is bend down and just pick it up and plug it back in. 1 second. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, you have a video, but you also have a link to the Help Center article, which is that guide to self-certification that was on the previous slide. So if you look at just this section of that page, you're going to see a complete breakdown of the types of controversial social issues that fall into this category. In addition, you're going to see a definition of what we mean by sensitive events, which is really what we're talking about when we refer to modern acts of terror or events resulting in the catastrophic loss of human life. So each questionnaire section has an equivalent section on this Help Center page, which is going to be as descriptive as we possibly can when it comes to what the categories actually mean. Okay. So let's take a look at violence. Here we have one of my favorite questionnaire sections and my favorite policies because of the fact that it touches on so many different verticals. History channels, gaming, and news. These are some of the top drivers of watch time on the platform. And these verticals are so important to us at YouTube because they're so much a part of what makes the platform real and a reflection of both our history, past, and our present. But when we're trying to support these verticals, we have to be specific. So when I drafted this section a couple of years ago, I thought it was great. But then we started seeing errors among those verticals. We deep dived into the content, we talked to creators directly, and it turned out the problem was that we weren't addressing dead bodies. So here you can see in the allow ads option, number 1, dead bodies that are fully censored, blurred, prepared for burial. The second is dead bodies prepared for burial or shown in historical events like wars as part of non-educational video. And then you see reference to shows blood, harm to minors, severe violence, or death in the third option. So you have allow ads, limited ads, and block ads in terms of your categories here. So we look at the error rates every single month. And where we're going to make changes going forward is in the front-end language, but also in this support article that I've been referring to, rate your content with self-certification. Now, if you look at just one of these sections of the violence category of this page, you're going to see even more bullet points. You're going to see, violent, combative, or abrasive interactions, and different circumstances in which that will mean that your upload falls into this category. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. We have an option to keep up with the actual updates themselves. So what I want to go through here is how you can actually keep up with all of the updates that we're making. So when it comes to those monthly updates that I was referring to, we don't want to blast emails out to the entire YouTube community saying, hey, we added a piece of guidance on dead bodies or what we regard as sensual dancing. We want to be more targeted than that. But we also want to ensure that we're providing resources for everyone. So about a year ago, we thought, why don't we create an update log that we will use to catalog any of the changes that we're about to make or that we just made. And then people can read along. But what we heard from creators was they really want an alert. We heard from some other creators to say, no, this is absolutely fine. So as a middle ground, and for now, what we're doing is providing another option, which is an update forum. So what you see here on the left of your screen is that static page that my team updates saying, hey, this is what's changed, or this is what is going to change. So you can log on to that repeatedly every day and see if there's anything new. Now, if you want that email blast into your inbox saying, hey, pay attention, something's changed. YouTube's policy team is trying to tell me something. You're going to subscribe to this forum. And the way in which you find your way to that forum is just search on Google advertiser-friendly content guideline updates forum. And you're going to see it within the results there. You can subscribe and you're going to see the most recent updates pinned just underneath the introduction. And as we post more recent updates, upcoming updates, you can actually upvote or downvote the update. Now, this is pretty soft data, but it gives us a really good sense of what the traction is among the community if we're on the right track. So the most recent update to self-certification has been shocking content. That's a whole new part of the questionnaire. And we've not only added that to the questionnaire, but we've added that to the Rate Your Content with Self-Certification Help Center page. Now you can see there that we got about a 6-to-1 ratio in favor of this update. So this is another channel through which my team looks to try and get a sense of how we're doing. So please interact, please subscribe, and we're looking to open up comments as soon as possible. So that's where we're going to leave it, and open it up to any questions that you might have. So I'm going to scroll through this little chat that I have. If anybody on the VidCon side wants to post the most recent audience questions. Yeah, okay, so we've Kaylee. How do you find out if my content is advertiser friendly? How do I petition if my content has been deemed not friendly? Kaylee, that's a great question. So I think some of what I've gone through is going to answer the first part of the question, which is how do I find out if my content is advertiser friendly? You're going to log on to the Rate Your Content with Self-Certification page, and that's going to be that most transparent breakdown of what can run ads and what can run limited ads and what can run no ads. Now, if you want to petition for your content to kind of move category from limited ads to allow ads, there are a lot of different ways in which you can do that. But our immediate focus is opening up comments, so we can see that at scale. But on an individual basis, you have the appeal option within the front end of the YouTube account. So we can't say that there's a direct line into my team yet, where you can say, hey, I think you're taking the wrong call. But I can say that we're going to open up comments. You can tweet Team YouTube, and the team there I work with every single day. And that gives us a sense of where we're at and if we need to re-examine our policies. So thanks, Kaylee, for that question. So we have Christina. Why are customer agents not allowed to advise on specific channels monetization issues or potential? So that's a tough one. So we have a customer kind of service team at YouTube, creator support. If there are circumstances where you're saying, I want to upload this dog video and the dog's going to do a couple of tricks, and I want you to tell me categorically what is going to monetize here and what's not. Oftentimes the devil is in the detail. And as YouTube always says, context is king. So if you're not getting traction with one of the team here at YouTube, it's because of the fact that we really need to see the finished upload before we can comment. Because we don't want to provide you with half-assed advice, because we know how much time, energy, often financial resources you're pouring into producing your content. Now, your question points to specific channels. And what you might be asking is, hey, I see this channel monetizing. Talk me through how they're able to monetize. And oftentimes these agents, out of respect for both you and the alternate channel, won't want to comment on the specific kind of third-party content that you're referring to. And that's because of the fact that just as we don't want to discuss another creator's content with you, we don't want to discuss your content with a third party either. So hope that clarifies. Sokratisha, hope that is the correct pronunciation. Are there any plans for YouTube to support important content that cannot be monetized? For example, kids' education. So kids has obviously been an important part of YouTube. The content that is targeted at kids is just as important as any other content category. But I actually don't work with kids' content for the most part. So what I can do is bring your question to the kids team, but it's not something I'll be able to address right now. All right. Do we have any other questions? That's it for the questions. Okay, so thank you very much for the time that you've taken out of your day to listen to the couple of thoughts that we wanted to share with you. For us, this is about the marathon, not a series of sprints. We're always looking to do better for you. Because of the fact that the people on this call, on this live stream, are the reason why people come to YouTube. Without you, there really isn't a platform and ability to monetize. So we'll be looking at all of the other questions that have been posted and come through. Thanks for your time. And I'm going to tee up Andrew, who's going to talk you through the rest of the agenda.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Connor. Really appreciate it.
You are so welcome, my friend. I'll pass the reins on over to you.
Very cool. Thanks so much. So, hi, everyone. My name is Andrew. I am a strategic partner manager here at YouTube. Really, that's just a fancy word for and a fancy title for saying I work with creators across all entertainment verticals, helping them grow and optimize their channels. Really, one of the recurring conversations that I have with creators around growing their channel tends to be around how can I grow my revenue, particularly outside of ads? So this is going to be something that we're going to explore a little bit more in depth today and, again, dive right in. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go over some slides, and then we'll actually hear from some creators as well today. So Connor gave a great overview of advertising, and so we're going to segue a bit now into non-advertising. Specifically, we're going to focus on 3 feature-based options that are available to creators around alternative monetization. Specifically, these are channel memberships, merchandise, and super chat and super stickers. We'll dive into all 3 of these in a little bit more in detail today, and then we'll actually hear from some creators who are using these features as well. Awesome. So to get started, we're going to first focus on channel memberships. So think about channel memberships like a fan club where you can ultimately offer various price points in exchange for perks to these members who sign up. For example, you can actually see what this might look like in real life on the right-hand side. You can see the join button that you probably have seen on some channels across YouTube. And when somebody clicks the join button, it will show a price point and then the perks that were available at that price point. So for any channel that enables memberships, you can establish up to 5 different pricing tiers that would be available to viewers. You can actually also create up to 6 custom badges. And the badges are what appear next to a member's name that really kind of denote that they are a member of your channel. Additionally, you can offer up to 49 custom emojis to members of your channel that allow them to use these emojis both in live chat as well as in comments. So it's really a great way for them to stand out and let people know that they're a member of your channel. And then finally, through memberships, you can offer a lot of really great perks, whether it be exclusive videos for members, community tab posts that only go to members, or even some looks behind the scenes. All of these can be super valuable to members, and we'll kind of explore a little bit more in depth some of the perks that other channels offer today. Cool. So I just wanted to give a quick look today at the eligibility. Each feature that we look at today will have eligibility requirements. I encourage you to check out the YouTube Help Center that houses all of this information. So I won't spend too much time on this today. And if you are interested, like I said, please check out the Help Center for all the details around eligibility. Awesome. So continuing to dive right in. When it comes to channel memberships, usually when I'm working with creators, I often see that there's a wall to enabling memberships. Creators often are trying to figure out what is the right reason for why I should actually launch memberships. Typically what we see is that whenever you can kind of identify the reason or the why for starting memberships, it can really allow you to better understand what kind of perks you should be offering. So at a high level, these are kind of the 5 main buckets that we typically see creators appeal to when they're trying to launch memberships and get people to become members. So oftentimes, members want to support your channel. They're not looking for any big, large perk. They're really just looking for a means to support you. So many times we'll see that viewers become members simply to support your channel and your goal. Another common reason is to get closer to you as a creator. We all know that many of the viewers, they're looking to get even more information than what's in your regular videos. So by providing them some behind the scenes or community tab post updates, you name it, these all really give your viewers an option to get a peek behind the scenes of what you're doing besides your regular videos. Exclusive access to perks. So again, this is probably one of the most obvious ones, but people want to become members if they feel like they're getting content that only members can get. So whether it's you publish 2 videos every week and your 3rd video is for members only, for example, that might be an exclusive perk that would cause a viewer to want to become a member. They're getting that 3rd additional video that's only available to them. Standing out from the crowd. So it's another common reason that we see viewers convert to members through things like badges and emojis, as well as some of the other features that we have. You can allow a viewer to really stand out from the crowd by becoming a member. And so this is definitely something that we often see as another reason for people to become members. And the final one is a sense of community. So oftentimes members are rallying around a particular cause or whatever the type of content is that lives on the channel. So creating a sense of community through memberships can also be a super successful way to launch. So we went over these 5. All 5 of these are really ultimately frameworks for thinking about why you should launch memberships. So I encourage you to really think about what is the roadblock to you currently launching memberships? And then think about if one of the reasons for launching it would actually fall into one of these 5 buckets, because many times they do. Awesome. Continuing to move forward, we're now going to look at some of the most common perks that are offered through channel memberships. So I know this slide can be a bit overwhelming, and I don't want to spend too much time reading all of the details here. But at a high level, you can see that each column has a particular topic that kind of denotes what type of perk it is. So you can see videos, posts, recognition, community, and physical goods. These are all the types of perks that channels typically offer through channel memberships and can maybe start to brainstorm for you ideas that you could even offer your own audience through memberships. So whether it be videos, we often see things like early access to videos, even also just exclusive videos for members. We also see things on the post side. So whether that's community tab posts, polling your audience, whatever that may be, you can also deliver perks through that avenue. Recognizing your members is also really important. So we have badges and emojis that allow you to easily recognize your member. You can also filter your comments by member comments. So this is another great way for you to make sure you're recognizing your members. As you can see, you can get the point here of how these different categories kind of work. You also have the community piece of things. So whether that's trying to engage in a live stream or a hangout that's available to your members only, you're really trying to foster a sense of community among those members, and that can be a great perk to offer. And then a final one is delivering physical perks. So whether that's a discount code for merch, let's say, or for example, a welcome birthday gift or a welcome package for members. All of these type of perks can ultimately be physical perks that you offer through memberships and can be of huge value to members. So again, I would encourage you to take a look at this type of list and try to brainstorm, are there perks that fit your channel and your audience? And is this something that ultimately would fit your membership strategy? So again, this is at a high level. We've covered the very basics of memberships. We're now going to move into merchandise and learn a little bit more about that particular feature. And again, throughout this presentation, if you have any questions, feel free, like with Connor, to pop them into the chat. And then we'll also be having some creators at the end, so you'll be able to ask the creators directly questions too. So before we dive into merch, we can kind of take a high level look at merchandise as a feature. So again, merch ultimately allows viewers to preview and browse your merch directly on YouTube. So it allows you to showcase merch from our supported list of retailers, both on your YouTube videos as well as across your channel. And we'll actually dive a little bit more into where viewers can actually find merch on YouTube. So a quick look at merch eligibility here. Again, you can find all of this information in the Help Center. So I encourage you to check out any of the features that you're interested in today on the Help Center, and you'll find all of the information you need. So like I was mentioning earlier, we currently have a list of supported retailers that work directly with YouTube for merchandise. For creators, you can see the list of retailers here on the left-hand side. And then for official artist channel, we have those 2 retailers here as well. Again, I encourage you, all of this information and the list of our supported retailers is actually in the YouTube Help Center on the merchandise page. So you can find all the information you need about the supported retailers and even enable memberships if you're eligible through one of these retailers. Oops. Awesome. So you might be asking yourself, how would a user even find merch on YouTube? And that's a really great question, and it's something that I think we should break down a little bit more here. So fans can find merch a variety of different ways. One of the most common ways is through the merch shelf, which is essentially a product carousel that shows up on a video page below a video, as you can see in the example here. It'll show up on videos that are eligible, not every single video, but it's a great way, and you probably have seen it in your own experience on YouTube, for users to preview your merch right when watching a video, which is obviously super effective. Another avenue for fans to find merch is via end screens and live chat pins. So a creator can actually choose a merch product to be an end screen, as you can kind of see the example here. So just as a reminder, an end screen are those placements you can put at the end of a video that would drive a viewer to a particular place. So you can actually see the example here of somebody using merch as an end screen. And then additionally, you can actually also pin it in a live chat, in a live stream or in a Premiere. That would allow you to keep that merch right up at the top of the chat. That's very visible to all the users who are engaging in the chat. So also another effective method of getting your merch out there to your fans. And then one of the final ways that merch is displayed is actually through the store tab. It's pretty easy to get there. And as you can see, when you're on the channel page, it's actually an available tab if you have it enabled. A viewer could go right to the store and preview all of the merch items that you have through a supported retailer. Very cool. So now you might be asking yourself, how do I know if I'm ready for merch, and is it the right move for me right now? Well, I think that there's a few different things to think about when you're trying to decide if merch is ready for you at this particular moment, and we'll kind of walk through some of those points. So the first is I definitely would gauge your audience engagement. So the number of subscribers is not going to matter as much as the type of engagement that you typically see on your channel. So looking at your comments, looking at your community tab post engagement, looking at all of the qualitative elements that you have to really assess your audience engagement is going to be very important when deciding whether to launch merch. Additionally, I think it's really important, just as we chatted about with memberships, to identify your goal for merch. Is your goal for merch to tap into additional revenue? Or is it to give your fans some kind of tangible representation of your brand? Both are equally valid, but again, it's really important that you think about your goal before you launch merch. Another very important thing that I see some channels run into is, does your brand rely on copyrighted material? Obviously, you know, if it does rely on copyrighted material, this can significantly affect the type of merchandise you can produce, just due to legal and policy issues. So something else to consider when you're looking at your channel and deciding if merch is right. And then a final one, which I think the creators will attest to today, and that is extremely important to always think about, is ultimately your bandwidth. So we know that we have a list of supported retailers here, but there probably will be some amount of dedication that you will have to give to launching merch as well. So being realistic about your bandwidth and really deciding whether it's the right time to take it on is also another extremely important thing to think about with merch. So again, we've covered the basics of merch. We're now going to dive into our final feature of today, which is super chat and super stickers. We'll learn kind of the basics of that, and then we'll segue again into our creator conversations. So super chat and super stickers are really cool features, and they allow users to purchase brightly colored pinned chat messages that, again, stick out to not only a creator, but other users as well. So I would say that super chat and super stickers are really unique in some ways too, because they offer a dual nature to them. Not only do fans get to support the creator by obviously giving them a donation live in the chat, but creators also get to connect with their top fans and identify them because of the fact that super chat is so obvious to both the creator and other users. So again, it's a really great way to not only garner audience engagement, but also tap into additional revenue and identify which fans are really supportive of your channel. Again, we've looked at all of these today. Check out the Help Center for more information, like I was mentioning earlier. But there's different requirements around channel and individual videos for enabling Super Chat and Super Stickers. So I would check out the YouTube Help Center and you'll get all of this information that you need. So finally, I think one of the most important things to think about is what does Super Chat and Super Stickers actually deliver to your fans? So in a lot of ways, they can enhance the fan experience through a few different ways and a few different pillars that we'll cover today. So one is pretty obvious, but due to the nature of the brightly colored pinned chat messages that appear at the top of the chat, you're going to stand out whenever you actually use a Super Chat compared to the average kind of chat. And so it's a great way for users to stand out, whether they're trying to really get your attention or really get their question answered, whatever it may be. They definitely will stand out through the nature of the feature. A second piece that's really important too is oftentimes creators use Super Chat as a way to garner audience participation. So because there is actually a chat message ability to attach to these Super Chats, as you can see with a little bit of text inside, you can actually use them very strategically. So whether it's to ask a creator a question, provide them feedback, give them a content idea, you can really name it here. It really gives your fans and audience a chance to participate directly in the conversation, which I think is a great feature there. And then a final one is providing support. So we all know that Super Chat can, in a lot of ways, be almost like a direct donation from an audience to a creator. And so in a lot of ways, it allows creators to provide, it allows audiences to provide creators with support outside of that advertising revenue. So again, it's great for creators because you can tap into that additional revenue source. But again, it also allows your audience to stick out and feel a little bit more of audience engagement on the channel. Awesome. So we've wrapped up all of the features today. We're now going to segue into our creator conversations. Again, just a quick reminder, please put any questions that you have as we're asking the creators questions today so that we will allot 5 minutes at the end of each creator's interview to take live questions in the chat and really hear any of the questions you may have. So please let us know and please feel free to drop them in the chat as we're chatting. But the first creator that I'm really excited to chat with today is Aquarium Co-op. He's actually very familiar with alternative monetization products. You can see here he actually has memberships enabled. He also uses Super Chat pretty frequently. And we're going to hear directly from him today on some of his best practices and strategies around these two features. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome Corey to the presentation today, and we're going to hear directly from him.
Hello, I'm Corey from Aquarium Co-op, and I'm going to bring some real practical advice because I've been using these products for over 2 years. I was beta testing some of them, and while it's great to get policy advice and stuff like that from YouTube, I find it's always invaluable to hear from other creators and watch what other creators are doing so you can get your ideas as well. So I'm going to focus on here's what I've done, here's what failed horribly, here's what's working for me, this guy can do it, I can't do it, and hopefully get you guys actually monetizing in a meaningful way.
For sure. Thanks for that intro, Corey. And I think that's a great way to set the conversation. I think you're kind of a unique creator in the sense that you use not only Super Chat, but you also use memberships. I guess I would love to hear a little bit about how you use each product and kind of how you use it in your overall channel strategy.
Yeah, so I think there's a hierarchy to the monetization, and that is the very basic user will watch your video and you'll get some ad revenue, and that's an exchange for some people. And then when you start building the community, and for me it's live streams and things like that, you might start encouraging Super Chats. Now, if you only have 5 people in your chat while you're live streaming, the Super Chat doesn't make a lot of sense because you can read and interact with every comment anyway. But I'm at a point now where we average about 1,500 users watching live, and so the chat is scrolling so fast to get your comment seen. A Super Chat usually will help that. Now, I run an educational channel where I help people with their aquariums and fish, and so if they have a sick fish or something and it's desperate, like their fish might die tomorrow, they want to get it seen. And so what we do is we try and always address all the Super Chats. They can get to be quite a bit at this point, but we do other things as well. So not only does someone want to kind of give back to a creator that's helped them and say thank you, because that's often, but sometimes they need their question answered, and then they want recognition as well. So a lot of times people just want to hear their name called out, like, oh, thank you, Andrew, for the Super Chat. And I also add some visual cues. Behind me here, you can actually see that big orange tower. That is a Philips light. It actually changes based on the super chat. So $20 would be orange, whereas a $2 super chat would be blue, and that's going to change based on what someone does. And so you get that visual cue that it's been there. Sometimes I'll see it in my own camera and know that more super chats are coming through. And then I also have this green light here, which will actually blink, and it will, if someone becomes a membership right now, it would actually blink on camera as well. So it'll blink, you give me another visual cue, we have a new member. And that's kind of how it goes. You get someone asks a question, you deliver them a good answer, and then over time, I actually change the narrative of like, great, you gave me $20, thank you. That's going to help us do this project we're working on. In the future, maybe think about super chatting, maybe only $10, but becoming a member, because you're going to get access to all these benefits that I do on the side. And you can leave comments in the community chat and that kind of stuff as well. And so I think it's a hierarchy that you need to step up to. If you launch too many products and you have too many call to actions, the user actually doesn't know what to do. And so start where it makes sense for you. Maybe you game all the time and you have a live chat, super chats are going to be great. If you never live stream, super chats are going to be a hard thing to break into because you might be clumsy with the live format to begin with, where memberships is you can rehearse it, you can get your sales pitch going, and sometimes that's an easier break in.
For sure. And I think you hit a few of the best practices there that we kind of covered earlier about, not only does super chat allow you to recognize your fans on the spot and show support, but it also allows you to tap into additional revenue. Something that I wanted to hear a little bit more about too is how do you allocate time for both of these features? So I know with Super Chat, for example, like you were saying, it makes it a little bit easier to prioritize all of those fan questions that are coming in. How do you prioritize even all of the Super Chats that are coming in your chats? I've seen your chats many times and you're getting multiple Super Chats at a time. So would you mind walking us through some of the best practices you've learned around that?
Yeah, so for me personally, I find about 500 people and under is pretty easy to stay on top of chat and as many super chats as going to come in. When you start getting above that, it can get out of control. And so I usually will start a stream and go, I might not be able to get to every super chat today. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to address ones that seem very urgent. I'm going to skip ones that might just say, hey, thanks for doing what you do, Corey. And know that I'm not any less appreciative, but I want to make sure we address people that do have the problems today or have these burning questions. And, we'll go from there. And if I can't get to them all by the time we're done with this stream, I'll follow up in the comment section. If you repeat it down, leave a comment, I'll come back tonight or tomorrow and I'll make sure I answer that for you because I don't want to leave you hanging. But do know, and that's where I would push to memberships of like, this is the perfect thing to go to memberships because we can have that a little bit longer dialogue and people will resonate when they see lots of super chats coming up. It gets difficult and they can see, wow, these are really stacking up and all of that's going on. And so there are actually times where at the level I'm at now, I turn super chats off and I might only utilize memberships. And then I will do some streams where the first hour, I do 2-hour live streams. So the first hour will be just general presentation and Q&A with anyone out of the chat. Then the second half, I'm answering the super chats. So they all have to build up, and I'm very upfront with that because sometimes people don't realize they're waiting an hour till they get that response that they're looking for. And then there are also times where I will do the second half of the chat, and maybe instead of super chats, so I make a choice. Am I doing super chats today, or am I pushing memberships and wanting to connect with that fan base today? I will turn the second half of it into membership only. So that's one of the benefits of the live streams. You can click the button and make it so only members can now submit questions. So that reinforces, you can see how if last week you talked about, instead of give me $20, give me $10 to become a member, and then the following week you make the second half of the session only member questions are coming through. They see that value in a 2-week turnaround. They go, oh, I see how this works. And as people see how things work, it might take them 6 weeks before they come on board. But there's people that will be quick to adopt and some that might take a year to adopt. I'm lucky in that we have members now that have been around for 2 years for actually using, the 2-year icon next to their channel membership, which that's a hard thing to come by these days.
For sure. And thank you for walking us through kind of all of those best practices. And I think you hit a few different really important points there, both on the memberships and super chat side of things. So thanks for walking us through that. Again, just a quick reminder to the audience, please feel free to send through any questions that you have. We're going to be able to ask Corey direct questions. So again, we'll be looking out for those as they come through. So please do so. I guess one last question that I would love to kind of hear your perspective on, Corey, to round this out is, Again, a lot of the people watching today might be new creators. Maybe they've never used Super Chat, they've never used memberships before. What is something that you first started doing, but with each product, right when you first started using them, that you've learned over time? You've either enhanced it or you've changed your strategy. Just something that was a learning from beginning to end. Now, I think would be super useful for our audience today.
Yeah, the biggest tip I have is go use the products. So if you want to super chat and stuff like that, go to some other creators and super chat and see that, oh, when you only super chat $2, you're limited to this many characters. If you do $20, you can do a paragraph. You can learn some of these things. Same with the stickers. And so when you become comfortable and you go, oh, I automatically know now that when it ends in 99 cents, that was done on an iPhone, where a whole number is done on a computer. And you start picking up on these things and you can see, oh, what I'm trying to explain, they're watching on a phone because it came from an iPhone. I need to be very grandiose in my gestures so they can see it on the screen versus, you see this thing right here? They're not going to see that. So you can clue in on just some of that. And when it comes to memberships, for sure, go and subscribe, like at a $5 level to a bunch of your favorite people and see what are they doing. Are they doing what they promised? What are their good ideas? What can you do? And slowly implement that. So often I find good ideas from just completely unrelated channels going, hey, that is something I should be doing. Or, oh, that didn't come across right at all. Am I doing that same mistake? And then like with merchandise, again, you got to utilize it. I know I'm not in charge of merchandise, but like this is from another creator. This has a fish on it. And if you were going to pin a shirt that you were going to sell, wear the shirt on the live stream. So you go, hey, you guys like this shirt? I do sell it. It's pretty good quality. I wear it all the time. And don't only wear it when you pin it. Like wear it actually, do what you say and actually wear it out in the wild, film videos, do those things with it. And so they see that it's not just hand me your money. It's more like, oh, I actually like this shirt. And talk about how you picked it and like, well, I liked this brand of shirt, so we did this. This is the comfort tee. I don't like this one. This is why I didn't make the leggings. And give the context so it seems that you are actually putting lots of thought and not just like, great, I would love if you bought a shirt, became a member, and super chatted me every day. If you could do all of those, that'd be great. Focus on one at a time and long game and slow and steady. You might only get a couple of super chats at the beginning. That's fine. Don't get antsy. Don't get angry about it. As things grow, they'll become more and more. And not every product is meant for you. A sticker on my channel is a distraction. A super chat helps them get a dying fish question answered. A membership helps them get access to a long form thing. They're all different tools, and you can mold each of those into your own. Maybe a super chat on your channel is your best gaming tip. Maybe it's your just shout out, like check out their channel. I'm a giant channel, and they're willing to pay $100 just to say, hey, check out Andrew's great channel on YouTube tips. But tailor it and keep the same narrative for a long time. Don't change the sales pitch. Really visualize where you're taking them and create a journey. It starts with someone's got to watch your videos. Then they got to hit that subscribe button. Then maybe you get them onto a live stream. Then maybe you get them to super chat you money. Then maybe they'll become a member. And then my favorite one to bundle it all up when you're done with that is sell them a t-shirt. So maybe you're using Teespring. You get a discount code off Teespring and you say, by the way, all the members this month, I've got a $5 off coupon for a t-shirt. So if you're already going to buy a t-shirt, there's no reason not to become a free member at this point.
Yes, that's a really great point. And I think Corey made a really interesting point there of how he kind of weaved all of the products together there. He talked about how memberships has a purpose, super chat and super stickers have a purpose, and merch do. And then they also kind of cross a line at times too. So that was really insightful. And I think that every creator should be thinking about all the features the same way Corey is. So thanks for shedding light on that, Corey. I think we have time for maybe one question for Corey. It looks like one of the questions from Kaylee is, I feel that not many YouTubers may watch or use Super Chat. Why might this be the case? I'd love to hear maybe from a creator perspective why you think this is, and then I can also jump in a little bit here too.
Yeah, so what I've found in live streams in general, if someone's not using a product, no one uses the product. And YouTube has done things to make it easier. So it used to be back in the day, someone super chatted, you saw it happen, that was it. Nowadays, when someone super chats, your super chat button lights up on your phone and things like that on your screen to help you or the other users go, hey, maybe I should. And you got to treat each of these, we're making money, right? And so each of these are little businesses in your big business. And so sometimes you got to stoke the fire. Maybe you have another creator come in and he super chats and be like, I love your live stream, and get the ball rolling a little bit. And then maybe you do that to theirs, sometime down the road. And maybe sometimes you have to go, hey, I want you to come in and ask a really good question for $10. Like, I'll give you the $10. I just want people to see, like, oh, I asked a $10 question that was this little paragraph, and then Corey talked for like 10 minutes about it, and we all learned about it. That's a great format. Maybe we should try and do that more. And that's the way I would approach it. And I think you have to create a reciprocity thing. So if you're not giving good enough info and good enough videos, people don't feel obligated to you. But I guarantee you feel this in your life all the time. If you are moving homes and you have some friends come over and help you move, you feel obligated to, well, can I buy you dinner? Can I get you something? Like, you helped me out a bunch, right? And so if you're paying it forward with giving them something they want, entertainment, education, whatever it is, they're going to have this need and this want to give back to you. And one of the best things about Super Chats and memberships is they can be happening worldwide. So even though we have an online e-commerce store for our business, most of the world can't interact with us in a way where they're help donating to the causes we do. Even though we might do things around the world in terms of philanthropy, there's no direct way outside of YouTube. And that's one of the best things that I found is that I saw someone else ask a question earlier, why memberships instead of Patreon? I've done both over the years, and staying on platform, not only is it going to make your stats better on YouTube because people don't leave the platform and go do other things, but it's a lot easier to get them to click one button and they get to show off in the, not only is their name going to come up in the the chat, it's going to show in comments and all of that. And that won't happen on Patreon. They're both similar platforms, but being on platform and the improvements that keep rolling out pretty quickly, I might add, for memberships is nice. Where Patreon, I was there for a year, was pretty slow to get anything new out. And so I put my stock in YouTube in terms of growing that membership base.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that insight. That's super insightful. And we really appreciate all of the advice and insight you've given us today, Corey. And again, we really appreciate your time. So thanks so much for joining us today. Good
luck, everyone. And slow and steady wins that race.
Well said, Corey. Well said. Awesome. Well, we have one more creator today that we'll be interviewing today. So again, as like I mentioned earlier, feel free to pop in any questions you may have for the next creator as well, and we'll be allocating a bit of time at the end to answer any live questions. So without further ado, our next creator is Jeff from Home Renovision. Definitely a really interesting, amazing creator. Really excited that Jeff was able to join us today. And again, Jeff is going to walk us through details of memberships and his very successful membership strategy. So again, we're going to be able to bring Jeff on now. Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Andrew, it's doing good, bud. How are you?
Good, good. Love the background, and thanks for joining today.
Well, I chose this because we've got members all over the world.
Love that. I love that idea. Love the analogy there. Well, I guess maybe you can give us a quick overview of your channel and a little bit about yourself first, if you don't mind.
Sure. I'm a recently retired general contractor in home renovations for the last 30 years, running a YouTube channel for the last 4.5. Doing members for a year now, which has absolutely changed the entire way that we do business. And,
really?
Yeah, we're just loving life. It's funny, the biggest mistake I ever made in life was not doing membership sooner.
Can you say that again one more time?
The biggest mistake I made in life was not doing membership sooner.
Okay, good, good. Just so everyone can hear that. And maybe you can walk us through why you think that.
It's funny. It's transformed the way that I see everything about my business model on YouTube. Before memberships, I think I had a very similar model to everybody else. You have all this different kind of feedback that comes over the internet, and some of it's love, some of it's indifferent, and some of it's just, jump off a bridge, right? But the point is once you've got membership, now you've got a constant real-time feedback of people who appreciate your message. And YouTube does a great job of finding your niche and exploring audience and helping to put people in your site that will appreciate you. But what membership does is it gives you that instant feedback that helps to balance the scales of psychosis that goes on being in this business. I think everybody, if you're watching this, you've been doing this long enough, there are good days and bad days, and mental health is a real thing. Membership is the pill to make you feel good about yourself. It is like a solution to a problem that no one even knows exists. And once you've got memberships, I started to see and think about future opportunities and what we're going to do as a business totally differently. So we started memberships because I do an edutainment kind of channel. I teach people how to renovate their homes. It's going to take 5,000 to 10,000 videos before I get all the content out there. And in the meantime, people have questions. So we did memberships so that we could be available to help fill in the learning gap. And what it did is it created such a bigger community for us that now we're looking at traveling all of North America, popping in and filming at our members' homes and helping and making them the content. So it's transformed our whole business model, and it's exciting because not only are you connected, but you're financially supported to make those plans. And it's a totally different environment.
Yeah, and I love the idea you were saying there, Jeff, of all of a sudden it's now become a part of your content strategy. You're going to your members' homes, you're helping them renovate, you're making this regular videos available to everyone so people can see the kind of effort and relationship you have with your members. Something that I would love to hear a little bit more from you about is like maybe you can walk us through some of the perks that you found really successful that you've offered and some of the maybe learnings too that you've had.
Yeah, so when we started out, our perks were kind of simple. It's YouTube has an awesome ability in the membership section for the creator. You can actually take a look at all of your members' comments. And so you can actually choose to engage with just your members. And so one of the perks that we did is we say, hey, we're going to answer all your questions because I can identify you and answer your question. So I can spend my time going through the comment section and actually helping people who are helping themselves by being a part of the program. And the other thing we've done on memberships is we're doing live shows. So actually starting this weekend, we're doing our first call-in live show, which will be absolutely phenomenal. So our members are going to get a phone number that they can call, and they can talk to us live while we're streaming, and it should be a phenomenal time.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really, really interesting, unique perk there that you're talking about too. And I think in a lot of ways, it gives you almost like direct line of communication with your members. So that's really awesome. Maybe you can also too walk us through, I think a lot of the new creators in the audience today might be wrestling with, how do I build this into my already busy schedule? I'm busy enough and now you're asking me to add on something else. How did you approach that with memberships?
It's transforming all the time. I mean, when I first started, it was, hey, I'm going to give you an email. You can email me and I'll help you out. And I didn't have any expectations, right? So it was fine. Every day I'd go check my email and I'd have a couple of questions. It was no big deal. Here we are a year later. Now I'm dedicating an hour every morning to answering questions. We're evolving. So, and that's part of the process. As it grows, you evolve. So we're moving on to developing our own members forum so that they can talk to each other, they can ask questions, they can connect with other members. And then the goal ultimately is to start hiring other retired contractors who can be available to answer questions as well, and make this a really big network. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed for sure. Awesome. Very cool. Well, I guess, again, just to mention to the audience again, we are taking live questions now. So if there's any questions that come through, please feel free to send them through the chat and we'll be taking a few of those. I guess, Jeff, do you want to just walk us through a little bit more, like I said, maybe some of the learnings that you've had too, some of the things that maybe you did when you first started memberships that you would give advice to some of these newer creators that maybe they should also kind of use as insight?
Yeah, sure. Man, where do you even start? Memberships for us was the first realization that we actually were bringing value to people. And I think to me that was the biggest thing. It was like a mental hurdle. I've talked to a lot of people and they're always wondering, should I start it? When should I start it? Why would somebody want to join? And for me, it was like a revelation, really. As soon as we announced it, people jumped on the board, and within a few months, you realize, wow, they're renewing their subscription. You start to realize that there's a lot of appreciation out there for what you're doing as a creator. They don't subscribe to you because they have nothing better to do and there's no options, right? So understand that YouTube has done a great job of finding your audience and put them in front of you for a reason. And if you do memberships and they're watching your channel, it's because they love you. So don't hesitate. It's okay. I know creative people, right? I mean, we always are quick to want to create something and put it out into the world. And for some reason, creative people are the last ones in the world who will accept any kind of recognition, or they just want to walk away from it. They're shy. I'm not shy, but at the same time, I know a lot of people are like, they don't want to be disappointed. And I'm telling you right now, your fans, your subscribers will not disappoint you. There's a lot of love out there for you. And in an uncertain world, if you have plans and you have dreams and you're looking for extra support, just be honest with them and tell them. That's what we did. We just said, hey, this channel's expensive. I need some extra help. And they just answered in droves. What do you say? Yeah. It's humbling, really. I mean,
yeah, and I think you said it very well. And I actually think one of the audience just passed through a question that was very relevant to what you were just mentioning. And they were wondering how you persuaded people to become a member. And did you mention it in your videos? For example, I know I've seen some of your videos where you've called out memberships, but maybe beyond the videos too. How do you promote memberships?
What I did when we launched it is I just had like a fireside chat, right? I just sat down in front of the camera and I said, hey, the channel's getting bigger. I can't answer all the questions like I like to. So we're going to have to start to make myself available to those who will help themselves. The information I'm giving out there saves a lot of time and money. There is a lot of value there, I like to think. And so we said, if you become a member at a nominal value and you're renovating your house, then I'll be able to answer your question. And it really is a value proposition, for me anyway. If I answer a question that someone doesn't have an answer to, it can save them hundreds or thousands of dollars. So it's no brainer, right? And that's not the same for everybody. But for me, what we found is only 10% of our members ever ask a question. The majority of people are just there saying, hey, we love this channel, we want to support you. And I think that you'll find that all across the board, no matter what genre or what your niche is. If you're a creator and you're big enough that memberships is enabled for you, and you have enough people who love on you that you should just do it. And just be honest and say, maybe you don't even have time for extra perks right now, but your viewers want to help support you. So don't be afraid and start. And once you start, you'll get lots of feedback, and then you'll be able to imagine what it looks like to promote it. You can do, mention the members in the video. You can start doing live streams. And you can do members-only live streams and have some intimate time with the people that care the most about you. And I found that to be some of the best time spent.
Yeah, I think, I think you're really hitting the nail there of like what memberships can deliver to your audience and the value that they can find in it. Again, one other question that just came through on the chat was in regards to pricing tiers. So do you have multiple pricing tiers for memberships, and kind of what is your strategy around that?
Yeah, actually, we introduced it last week.
Oh, that's awesome. Maybe you can walk us through some of it.
Well, we started off with a basic $5.99 tier, right? And what we did is we've had a lot of people saying, hey, if you're ever in town, I want to buy you a beer. And the reality is I don't want to have to drink that much beer. So we had to introduce some other levels. People are always saying, hey, you saved me thousands. Hey, I'd like to give more. So we opened it up. We did a $10, a $25, and a $100 tier. And we did that on Tuesday. So 3 days later, now we've got members in every tier, and it's for us, we didn't even change the perks. We said, listen, if you want to give back and say thanks, then that's a great way to do it. And so that's what they're doing. And it's just mind-blowing to see it happen.
Yeah, no, and it'll be very exciting to see, especially since it's so new for you to launch, what kind of success you see with that over time. But yeah, we'll have to check back in with you maybe next year, Jeff.
For sure.
We'll have to see where that is. Well, I think we're pretty much out of time here. But if there's any final audience questions, if you want to send them through right now, I think we can maybe take one more. So yeah, we'll just kind of stand by. Okay, cool. Doesn't look like we have any more questions coming. So I think we'll kind of wrap it here. But thanks everyone for sending through the questions that you did. And thanks so much, Jeff, for providing us with all this insight and advice today. It was super useful.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks, YouTube, for calling out. Andrew, good to hear from you again. Always my man. You take care.
You too. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Cheers.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining today. I hope you learned not only about advertising, but also some of the alternative monetization streams here available on YouTube. And please check out our Help Center if you need any more information. So thanks again.